to bring to you now, ladies and gentlemen, the Lambda Chorale.
We think we've found a piece of music that certainly represents the courage and the faith. In all these years, in fighting AIDS, fighting the government, fighting the state, and making progress, love has always been our song.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Pastor Leslie Tipton. I'm the associate pastor with lots of feedback. At Church of the Holy Spirit Song in Wilton Manors, we meet at the Pride Center down on Dixie Highway. I've been asked to just share a few words with you here tonight, and last year I figured out what I was going to say while I was walking, and tonight the same thing happened. If you look around this crowd tonight, you see a great, diverse representation of our culture, our society, our community. our different homes, our different families. And it tells you that by the diversity that we see here, HIV touches us all. And a quote that I'm going to share from my good friend Christopher Fagenbush is that even though I am HIV negative, I live with HIV every day. And because I live with HIV every day, and I know many who have been touched by it, many we have lost from it, many who live with it now, that means that together we can make a difference. Because anything that can touch the diversity of mankind like HIV has, together we can beat. But we have to do it together. And if we don't do it together, it's just like a bunch of little groups not working together but fighting each other. It's important tonight that we remember those who we've lost to HIV and to AIDS. I see many pictures here tonight. But I also want us to stand for those who cannot speak for themselves because of fear of being outed about being HIV positive in their family, in their community, in their place of work, because they may be imprisoned and they're fearful there, because they're fearful of coming out being HIV positive or living with AIDS in their churches. I stand for those people tonight. Remember, we are all in this together, and together we can make a difference. It doesn't matter what faith you profess. Love your neighbor means the same thing to every one of us. So as we remember tonight, everyone in our lives who this disease has touched, let's remember tomorrow to do the same thing, and all 365 days of the year, as we love our neighbors and we take care of each other. Have a great night, and thank you for coming out this evening.
Pastor Timpton, thank you very much. Words of inspiration and faith. I am Kathleen Cannon. I have the actually very nice honor of being the MC this evening. I am touched how many people are here. It makes us all realize how important it is to be together, to be community. This is about celebrating today, celebrating our love for each other, our fellowship, our faith, our community, our caring for each other, our advocacy, and it is celebrating the memories of everyone we have lost. All the lights we see, all the faces that are here, all of you are celebrating the memories of everyone from the past. This is how we keep everybody alive, and I want to thank you for sharing those memories for all these years, and thank you for caring for each other and loving each other. I wanted to thank the Lambda Chorale. This is their second year for coming out. People share their talents with each other as well, which is spectacular. Now, as you know, nothing happens without great partners, and one of the blessings of Broward County is people are partners here. If it's GeoVax Pharmaceuticals, Walgreens Pharmacy, the Pride Factory, ComCare Pharmacy, and the Department of Health all sponsored this evening. And with volunteers, we had Billy and Joel heading up our volunteers. We have MAC AIDS Funds. They were the ones handing out everything. They actually make us look beautiful, but they do a great job taking care of the community as well. Now, you are so welcome. Thank you. Georgie's Alibi, they do so much for the community as well. They open their parking lot, absolutely. Jackson and Mark, they open the parking lot, they open their wallets, they open their lives, their resources, not just for Broward House, but for everybody. And they are phenomenal sponsors and phenomenal ambassadors of the community. So thank you so much. Now, I do have the honor of introducing the CEO and the president of Broward House. He is my boss, and he has been fighting the fight since New York City many, many years ago, and now for many years here in Fort Lauderdale. Angelo Castillo.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kathleen. Let me tell you, folks, that is one hell of a lady. According to the CDC, over 1 million people live with HIV in the United States, a virus that causes AIDS. 1 in 5 of that million don't know it. Because of improvements in the medical treatment of HIV, the total number of people living with the virus has increased steadily. People infected by HIV do live much longer than ever before, and we've made tremendous gains to educate people about how to avoid becoming infected with HIV. But despite those numbers, Broward County and Dade County continue to be the #1 counties in America in terms of new cases of HIV diagnosed. Over 56,000 Americans continue to be affected with HIV each year. The AIDS epidemic is not over. It is far from over. It is still relevant. And we have a responsibility to make sure that people are aware. Since the epidemic began, nearly 700,000 people in the United States have died from AIDS. 700,000. That's 18,000 deaths per year attributed to HIV and AIDS. And more than half of those cases involve men having sex with men in an unprotected way. However, HIV has spread now for years, well beyond the gay community, and has become a virus that knows no demographic and that does not discriminate. Blacks, Hispanics, women. HIV knows no barrier, no color, no gender. And what we do at Broward House, and we share that work with the many outstanding HIV service providers in this community, each of which deserve your applause right now because they do great, great work. For us, working with HIV isn't just something that we do for a living. For me, for 25 years, I've been working in that area. It has touched us both personally and professionally, and it's become something of a social test in America. We believe in a society that judges not on the basis of someone's condition or how they got that way, but on the basis of human need and the simple sense of duty that we as humans have to respond to that need. We believe in a society that should be judged not on the basis of how well some of us do, but on the basis of how well the least among us, including the sick, are doing. We believe in the true meaning of greatness in this nation is not measured and should not be measured by wealth and how much of it we accumulate, by how well we treat one another as people. We believe that compassion is not a liberal or a conservative concept. It is quintessentially human. It is an imperative that all of us share, and it should know no philosophical or political boundary. On behalf of Broward House and on behalf of our board of directors, our management team, our staff, and more importantly, the 6,000 clients, individuals who we serve each year, please accept our warmest best wishes for the success of this and every World AIDS Day commemoration in Broward County. We will continue to be there with you until the cure for AIDS is found.
I'm reading this proclamation that Gary's name is on, and so if I say I'm Gary Resnick, you know I'm not. World AIDS Day. Whereas HIV infection and AIDS continues to be a major health concern, with currently more than 1 million in the United States and an estimated 33 million worldwide. And whereas the global epidemic of HIV infection and AIDS requires a worldwide effort to increase communications, education, and united action to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS. And whereas HIV, AIDS, education, and prevention organizations across the globe observe December 1st of each year as World AIDS Day to celebrate the progress made in the battle against the epidemic and to bring into focus the remaining challenges. And whereas World AIDS Day provides an opportunity to focus local, state, national, and worldwide attention on HIV and AIDS, and to disseminate information on how to prevent the spread of HIV, and whereas in recognition of the fight against HIV and AIDS will be won by scientific research and by breaking down barriers to effective HIV prevention. And whereas, as part of the year's World AIDS Day observance, people are encouraged to ensure that policies and programs exist to protect the rights of the people to be informed and educated about the risk of HIV infection and to deliver care for those infected and affected. Now, therefore, I, Gary Resnick, Mayor of the City of Wilton Manors, Florida, do hereby proclaim December 1st, 2010 as World AIDS Day in the City of Wilton Manors, and urge our residents and citizens to join in appropriate activities to remember those who have lost their lives to AIDS and to provide support and comfort for those living with this disease. Thank you.
I've had another distinct honor of welcoming someone to the stage to say a few words. He is a long-term AIDS activist. He has been fighting this fight for a long time through law, through his voice, through advocacy, through passion, through words. He is also the publisher for the South Florida Gay News, and he is a wonderful friend of mine. So I'd like to introduce Norm Kent.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry. Sorry we have to be here. 10 years ago, on the Esplanade in Fort Lauderdale, I was asked to give a talk on World AIDS Day. And I went back and looked at some of the words I spoke on that night, and I see they're still, even tonight, on the Esplanade in Fort Lauderdale, commemorating also World AIDS Day. But I sadly saw that so many of the words I spoke back then still need to be heard here today, because we find ourselves again talking and walking, lighting candles for those who are no longer with us, memorializing the lives of friends and lovers, children and brothers, mothers and fathers who left us all too soon. So we come here again, as we have been doing for 3 decades, solemnly recommitting our energy and our spirit. So those friends of yours who are lost and fallen are not forgotten. To shed a tear and say a prayer for the departed, to remember them this evening. But because of our tenacity, we come with souls that are forged in iron to fight like hell for the living. You know, some of us are old enough to remember when AIDS was called GRID, gay-related immune deficiency syndrome, and there was no hope. But some of you are too young to understand there was a day with no protease inhibitors, steroid cocktails, or once-a-day pills. Some of you here are old enough to remember a librarian with HIV was fired from his job at a Broward County library. But some of you are too young to know there was a day when people were afraid to use a public toilet seat for fear of contracting HIV. Some of us are old enough to remember Pedro Zamora, Ryan White, and Freddie Mercury. But for most of us, AIDS is not about celebrities like Magic Johnson, who we may never meet. It's about our family members, our friends. There's no shame in living with HIV. Albert Einstein once wrote that the things we do for ourselves die with us, But the things we do for others is immortal and lives forever. There's only shame if in a time of AIDS, we do not come to the aid of those living with it. There's only shame if we're in a position to help and do nothing, be in a position to educate and do not teach, be in a position to give and care and fail to care or give. Your presence here today is a salute to yourself, to your resolve, to your initiative, to your aspiration that there will be a time when you no longer have to gather. But right now it falls upon us, to those who fight people with AIDS instead of the disease called AIDS. It falls upon us, particularly those legislators who just graced this stage, to respond to our federal and congressional officials far too apathetic who look the other way as patients fall off ADAP lists. It is unconscionable, immoral, beyond the tolerance of anybody to hear that patients who have been getting treated with meds are suddenly being taken off lists and denied those medicines in the year 2010. You cannot stand for it. You must stand here and you must stand against it. So it falls upon us to respond still to religious leaders who brand HIV patients as second-class citizens. It falls upon us and you to remind America that outside the limelight, many of our friends are still passing away. And it falls upon us to be sure that they do not go quietly into the night and that the people who govern our communities hear our voice. And until that day comes, you have to come out here, year after year, and light those candles, saying there will be a time and a day when these candles need to burn no more. But you do not stand alone. You stand and recall, if you will, for a moment of silence, the tall and brave spirit of someone who once stood beside you that is no longer here. Because that's the person whose memory you cherish, and that's the voice who you need to speak for today. That's the call you need to have heard tomorrow. And there's different ways of doing it. You can be the readers in hospital rooms for patients who are too ill to see. You can be the companion and caregiver who helps out with the pet. You can be the therapist counseling against fear, or the attorney providing legal aid against discrimination. Maybe the student delivering Meals on Wheels. And maybe, too, you can be, again, another nightclub and bar owner sponsoring one more party, yet another fundraiser for HIV facilities. And you don't need to be in the headlines. You can be the caller to a talk show who won't let an announcer disseminate hate. You can be the doctor working on a new protocol. You can be a student writing a term paper to prevent discrimination in law. You don't have to make headlines to make a difference. You just have to make headway. You just have to continue to care, continue to bother, and continue to be a voice for hope. So your presence here tonight is testimony again that at least in South Florida, this community shall be visible, not invisible. And if it takes looking like the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence over there to be visible, then let's do it. If it means being unfashionable, then let's live unfashionably. Because one day we shall overcome. Amen. Because to stand against illness is to be a champion for life. And it does not matter, as the poet once said, how many miles there are to go. If your cause is just, if your goals are righteous, and your heart and soul is in the right place at the right time, then inevitably you shall prevail. And your presence here today is an assertion, an achievement, and an accolade to the fact that this is a cause we will win, that you will win, and one day we will come not to commemorate a loss, but to celebrate a cure. Thank you.
Another round of applause, please. I told you, an activist, true and true. Thank you, Norm. Woo! Very, very touching, and we do need to stand together, and I'm honored that we're standing together tonight. I'm honored to be part of you, to be standing together. The Mayor, Gary Resnick, is here.
Nice crowd. Welcome, everybody, to Wilton Manors. Thank you all for being here. I just wanted to actually welcome everybody and do what I can to honor and show the city's commitment to the fight against AIDS, and I don't want to follow Norm Kent. That's very difficult to do. But Norm is a true community activist and one of the great founders of our community. And there's so many friends here. This is really nice, actually. First of all, happy Hanukkah to everybody. Thank you. It actually started tonight. And thank you. And I understand the entire city commission was up earlier, and Tom Green did a great impersonation of me, so I don't have to read our proclamation, but he was chosen by the city commission for vice mayor because he looks so much like me. So, but no, I don't know if that's an insult, Tom, or not. But I just wanted to be here tonight with you. I've actually been at every single one of these AIDS walks that we've ever had in Wilton Manors. And, you know, it's good in a way that we're able to have these great events here, but it's also a shame that we continue to need to have these events here. And so the fight against AIDS is really our fight. I mean, in 1990, I was living in Washington, D.C., and I lost my best friend to AIDS. And everybody here is dealing with this awful disease, and HIV and AIDS is still a tremendous problem in this country. So I'm glad that there's so many folks here. I'm glad that we're able to come together like this to show our support for those dealing with HIV and AIDS, and to show that we're united in doing what we can to put an end to this awful disease. So thank you for coming out to lend your support to that cause. I also want to make sure that you understand that the city of Wilton Manors is absolutely 100% committed to this cause and to our community. Not only is the entire city commission here tonight, and you met them earlier, our city manager and his wife is here tonight. I see our Parks and Recreation Director, Patrick Kahn, here tonight. Our police is out here supporting this event tonight. And by the way, we need to thank our Leisure Services Department, because the city of Wilton Manors was a strong supporter of this event, and our Leisure Services Department did a lot to make sure that all of the events took place without any issue, and everything went smoothly. So we thank them for all of their hard work for the city. And in terms of Wilton Manors' commitment to this and our long standing commitment to our community, let me just point out by saying a couple things. I got an email from a good friend of mine who's a city council member in North Miami last week, actually, for the holidays, saying how he was proud that North Miami was leading the charge for our community in Miami-Dade County, because they finally adopted this year giving domestic partners family medical leave benefits, which is great. I mean, it's wonderful that cities around the country and around Florida are doing that now. But let's just show you Wilton Manors' commitment. We offered domestic partner benefits in 1999, and we started offering domestic partners family medical leave in 1999. So it's great that it's catching on, but we're standing here very, very proud to be a leader for all of the rights of our community, and let us know if there's anything more that we can do, because we are 100% behind not only the fight against AIDS and HIV, but all the struggles that our community is dealing with. So feel free to reach out to me, any members of our city commission, and thank you again so much for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Resnick. We have heard from a lot of people this evening, but we haven't heard from someone who was walking the walk, talking the talk, and who is living with the virus. I am completely honored to bring up to stage Dab Gardner. He is, many of you know him, and you will know him from his teddy bear.
Dab's the Ace Bear.
Not only Dab is handsome, charming, smart, kind as can be, he has passion, he has energy, he's been all over the country fighting this fight, and it's really an honor to know you, an honor to stand here with you, and an honor to walk on this planet with you. And you inspire me, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you.
1981, a friend of mine developed purple lesions. At that time, we didn't even have a name for the virus. It turned out to be the person that I loved more than anything die in a room and me not be able to hold him and comfort him. He received the second teddy bear. And then a few months later, I started to get sick with PCP. At that time, it was called GRID, Gay-Related Immune Deficiency.
Woo! 30 years.
Now, I was told by the doctors that I would not live to see my 20th birthday, which was only 6 weeks later. Well, doctor, guess what? It's almost 30 years, and I'm still here. Gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, Candace actually was able to make it to age 5, but unfortunately passed away in the United States and 9 foreign countries, helping over 59,000 children with HIV and AIDS. But tonight I've been asked to talk to you about hope, because we do have hope for tomorrow. We have medications that we didn't have in the 80s and early 90s. We have Ryan White funding, which I and other activists worked with Senator Kennedy to get to help people live with HIV. We have new discoveries every day that are improving the quality of care that we receive, and we have fantastic organizations like Broward House to give us case management and other services to help us deal with living with this virus. Now, through my work with AARP, I deal with the elected officials at Washington, D.C. and on the state level.
Part of the memories of the lost ones is Candace, so that was touching, Dab, to share that. I do want to introduce, well, I want to actually say goodnight. We're going to end on a beautiful song. David Muelsman has been with us for 3 years. He's talented, he's passionate, he's committed, and he volunteers all the time. So we are going to end on this, and I'm going to ask everyone, if you would, to grab hands. This is one human family, and together, one human family can cure everything, take care of everything, love everything. And I want to thank you again for being here.
When I'm down and oh, my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas.
David. I want to thank the Broward House staff. We have so many staff here. And I want to thank you again for being here, for sharing your memories, for loving each other, and moving forward together as one community. I am grateful.
When I am on your shoulders, you raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I